Treasures or trash? This man was blown away by what he found inside the house he purchased. Professional collector and antique store owner Alex Archbold has been in the business for years. But his biggest treasure hunt adventure came when, without even looking inside the property, Alex took a risk and bought a piano teacher's home in hopes of being able to break even with some trinkets found inside it. But nobody could prepare him for what he was about to stumble upon when he purchased this home. Keep watching to find out the secrets that this innocent-looking house held. You wouldn't think that antiquing is all that adventurous, but it's actually quite an exhilarating activity. With that said, it takes a certain type of person to spend their time antique collecting. Someone with a lot of patience, historical knowledge, and drive to keep their treasure hunt going strong. That's right, antiquing is a whole lot like actual treasure hunting. But little did professional collector Alex Archbold know just what type of treasure he was about to stumble upon. Alex Archbold explained what collecting and selling antiques means to him on his official company's website, including how thrilling it is. We opened Curiosity Inc. in 2016 with two main goals: to find some amazing items for the store and to have adventures. We love having adventures with friends and family, as well as sharing these adventures and artifacts with all of you. The company documented their findings and shared with the world all their modern-day treasure hunts, but nobody expected what was to come in December 2020. Alex Archbold is the owner of Curiosity Incorporated, an antique store located in Edmonton, Alberta. One of Curiosity Incorporated's YouTube videos, Alex introduced himself saying, "Hi, I'm Alex Archbold, and I've been buying and selling antiques since I was 9 years old. From basements to scrapyards, I'll look just about anywhere I can to find lost antiques and collectibles." Come winter of 2020, one of his small adventures would turn out to be one of his biggest ones yet. Alex is all about antiques, collectibles, and vintage motorcycles. But just like most collectors, it's safe to say that he's all about cars too. It was during an antique sale a few years ago that Alex had met a lovely elderly woman named Madame Rock, who was selling her old Cadillac. The two seemed to really click and continued to keep in touch even after Alex purchased the blue vintage vehicle from the piano teacher. Sadly, in November of 2020, the 76-year-old woman passed away due to illness. Some people might claim that things are just things, but there's a reason why certain items hold sentimental value for some people. And once a loved one passes away, sometimes it's their things that keep their memory alive for generations and generations to come, like your great-great-grandmother's beautiful china set or a diamond ring, right? Rock didn't have any children, though, so when it came time for all of her belongings and property, it was up for sale after her passing. And while it's hard to lose someone special, Alex saw this as an opportunity to honor the beloved piano teacher. Rock was known to be a lively, colorful woman, full of all types of experiences in her life. So Alex assumed she was bound to have at least a couple of interesting knickknacks around the house. Considering the fact that Alex had a personal connection to Rock, on top of the fact that he loved vintage items, he decided to take the risk and purchase her home without even looking around inside first. After all, he's an expert at searching for collectibles and sifting through trash to find treasure. There are all sorts of antique collectors and bargain hunters that go around purchasing abandoned storage units, so purchasing an abandoned home like this wasn't necessarily unheard of. But Alex was purchasing the whole house with all its contents inside of it. Interestingly enough, though, this wasn't the first time he'd done something like this. However, what made the whole situation special and wholesome is the fact that Alex actually knew the owner, and he felt like he was sure to find a few things here and there that would make it all worthwhile. But he ended up finding so much more than that. Alex purchased the home and all of its belongings found inside of it for just $10,000. When it was finally time to take a look around her home, though, he was blown away by what he saw. I thought it was going to be a break-even situation, that maybe with the piano and some of the other things I might be able to get $10,000 worth of stuff. I was shocked and surprised to learn that that was not the case, Alex shared with CBC. When you walk into someone's house, you never really know what you're going to see. From the type of interior design and decor theme to the layout of the house, it's always such a surprise to enter someone's home for the first time. But Alex had a pretty good idea of what he might find since he knew Rock and her style. Rock was just a lovely lady and definitely stood out in the crowd. She was very colorful, multiple layers of interesting clothing, jewelry, lots of rings and necklaces, and a bow in her hair. Alex opened up and revealed to CBC. Still, nobody could have prepared Alex for what her house actually looked like. As Alex and his personal search team entered the house for the first time, they were blown away. The entire house was cluttered and filled with all sorts of trinkets, books, magazines, piles of clothing, the full-on hoarder's home. Most of the rooms you couldn't actually walk into. There was 4 feet of clothing and debris and other sorts of things piled throughout most of the house where you actually had to physically climb, Alex explained to CBC. A hoarder's home is definitely not what Alex expected, but that wasn't even the most surprising thing he discovered that day. Based on the interactions with the sweet elder woman from the past, Alex thought he might have had some clue about what to find inside the home. Clearly, he was wrong. I remember her saying that she had lots of old clothes she wanted to sell, but she couldn't have me since she had to tidy up, Alex recalled on one of his YouTube videos when he was talking about purchasing the blue Cadillac from Rock a few years prior. It wasn't until he actually walked into the house that he finally understood what she meant by tidy up before having him around. It's always quite a shock when you walk into a house that's literally filled to the brim with different items and things. How did this sweet old lady seem to have collected so many things over time and keep them in such a manner? I think over the years her house became more and more full of the things she'd inherited and she had an attachment to, and I think that it kind of became out of control, Alex shared. But it wasn't what they saw that surprised them, it was what they actually found that did. Alex and his team didn't see the piles of trash as anything to fear. If anything, it was just an extra level to the challenge. Sure, it might have been quite a process to clean up everything. However, what they did find put quite a pep in their step from then on. We were emptying out some leaflets in the front room and some little silver bars fell out. They were hidden among the magazines and garbage, he said. Talk about one man's trash and another man's treasure. Can you believe that they actually found real silver bars just tucked away in paper? What an odd and exhilarating find. If there was silver just hanging around the house, hidden away in leaflets, then maybe there were other wonders hidden in other places around. So after the first day, the team started looking through every nook and cranny around the house. It just became a daily discovery of actually looking for treasure. And so this began the process of looking thoroughly through books and shoes and magazines and newspapers. And eventually we masked this hoard of amazing treasure we found throughout the house, Alex further revealed. Alex didn't just go around searching for and collecting antiques. Shortly after starting up Curiosity Inc., they opened up a YouTube channel to document their adventures. Their About Me section states that they are always out looking for cool new finds and finding creative ways to bring new life to old stuff. So of course they brought along a camera to document their journey. And while they were doing a walkthrough around, they found another unexpected hidden surprise in one of the main rooms. While it may not seem that surprising at first, the team was blown away by one of their finds in the living room. Found at the house of the piano teacher, covered under a white sheet, was a beautiful Williams Baby Grand, along with a bunch of music books and storage bin below the keys. There's a whole grand piano, and it's like in perfect condition since she kept it covered, Alex shared in his YouTube video. As the team made their way upstairs, they stumbled upon one of the bedrooms that had an additional door that was completely blocked by literal piles and piles of clothing and boxes filled with keepsakes. You know what I'm worried about? I'm worried that I just bought a bunch of old clothing, Alex originally confessed in his YouTube video. But as he went through the piles, he started to feel differently, especially since they started to find other items besides clothing. Rock was known to be a musician and a ballerina, but she had a knack for fashion as well. Not only did she press up herself in a very distinct style with bright colors and accessories, but her home proved that fashion held a special place in her heart. To some people, piles of clothes might just look like, well, clothes. But to Alex, the antique artist, he saw this as a treasure. Vintage denim is quite collectible, so I'll have to actually go through a lot of this stuff, he claimed in his video. But that's not all they found in the pile. Alex and his teammate Dakota dug through piles of clothing and items to get to the blockaded door in the spare bedroom. They found all sorts of fashion and apparel-related items like shoe trees, retail hooks, leather jackets, fabric pattern leaflets, and a vintage special tailor book from 1924 titled American Garment Cutter. How interesting. They also found a couple of bay blankets that totaled to be worth about $600. But there was one more thing that they found before unblocking the doorway that Alex was super excited about. There's some good stuff mixed in here, Alex excitingly declared as they made their way further down the pile of items blocking the doorway. But another thing they found was an untouched Meccano model construction set, which is exactly what Alex's son asked for the holidays. Looks like Christmas literally came early that year. That might have been the most valuable find for Alex's son, but the most valuable find in general from this room so far might have been the Nikon Nicormat camera with a telephoto lens that was buried beneath the piles of clothing and keepsakes. Incredible! After physically digging up buried treasure and moving around the piles of clothing and boxes hiding the doorway in the spare bedroom, the big reveal was at the tip of their fingers. They finally made their way down from the high pile to the ground and had cleared enough space around the area to open the door. Alex thought it might have been another room located between the main bedroom and the spare that they were currently in. So what was actually behind door number 1? Walking through the house, it was almost impossible to get to certain rooms or down the hallway because it was stuffed with piles of boxes and other items. After digging through the spare bedroom and sifting through all the items blocking the doorway within the room, they were finally able to solve the mystery of what was behind it. It turns out it was a mini walk-in closet, and surprisingly enough, it was quite organized, with tons of boxes and a bunch of 60s swag, outfits from the 60s. The most intriguing thing, though, was that there was a secret door in the back that had the words, "Do not open this door" on it. Spooky. Over the next couple of weeks, Alex and his team found actual treasures buried in places they never would have expected. They came across a 100-ounce silver bar, bags of gold rings, jewelry, and designer items hidden in different spots around the house, like inside shoes. The sole of a shoe, you lift up the little bit inside and there's some jewelry crammed in the toe or the slipper, he told CBC. How wild! How much did all of his findings total out to, though? Alex had basically found himself an unconventional and modern-day treasure chest buried all around this seemingly average Canadian home. Combining all the little trinkets, clothing, and money found all around the house, Alex estimated everything to be just under $500,000. What exactly was he going to do with all these items, though? Well, thankfully, because he has quite a global following on his YouTube channel and almost 400,000 followers, he was able to coordinate an online auction. As we mentioned before, Alex documents all his finds on his YouTube channel. Currently, there are 21 different videos just for this house series alone. The first one was uploaded on December 12, 2020, with info about the online auction happening at kauctions.ca on January 30th, 2021. We've had people bidding on our auctions from Germany, Australia, Italy, you name the company, and those people are interested in this story and interested in having a piece from this story, Alex further explained to CBC. The auction proved to be a huge success as he made over $250,000. Plenty of people all around the world love collecting items. Alex knew who the owner of all these items was firsthand, so that, combined with his knowledge in antiques and vintage pieces, made them that much more intriguing. And his mission of finding these prized items a new home is that much more inspiring. It's an urban legend kind of story, and I got to be there and I got to be a part of it. It's just insane, Alex excitingly expressed to CBC. But there was one special item that Alex just couldn't let go of. The only auction was just the first of a few he was planning on holding. However, before holding the other auctions, he had already made a profit of over $200,000. So what exactly was he going to do with all of it? He wants to make one of his dreams a reality and open a cafe next door to his antique shop. He also revealed that he wouldn't be complete without one special item that he found in the piano teacher's home. Her piano, which we've kept back here at the shop, is going to go live in that cafe, where students of hers or people who are musicians can come and play. How sweet. It's amazing how much you can learn about a person just going through their personal belongings. Alex already knew Rock, but after going through her home, he definitely sees her in a new light and appreciates her even more. We're all very grateful to Madame Rock and her legacy being passed on through us, and to be able to try and do wonderful things with it. It just reminds us how temporary we are in this world and how important the things that we have around us are, Alex further revealed. But how did all of these treasures and wonders from the past even end up hidden away in a hoarded house like this? How did a piano teacher end up with so many valuable items like silver bars and piles of vintage clothing? As an only child when her folks had passed, I think all of their inheritance went to her. But the funny thing was that she was not very open about her wealth, so very many people thought she didn't have much money at all, Alex explained. She lived quite a simple life and even used to share a bus pass with her husband. But for fun, she loved traveling around the world, shopping, and with this inheritance, she had the opportunity to do all sorts of things that an average person wouldn't dream.